Hey everybody, this is Brian from the DosRamos real estate team with Remax Escarpment. Thanks for tuning in. This is our video series on the top 10 towns and cities to invest in Ontario. This is the third video I think in the series, so we're actually on number 9. We're working our way down the list. So number 9, this may surprise some people. It actually surprised me when we were going through the research as well. But that's just a little bit of not knowing too much about the area in the beginning. So once we started digging into this research, definitely this city deserves to be in the top 10 for sure. And from a long-term wealth creation strategy, this is going to be a good investment for a lot of people that get in at the right time, which the right time is now. So again, these videos are being shot in April 2018, just so you know that the information is relevant, obviously, to you. And so here we go. We'll jump right into it. So number 9. Number 9 is actually the Orillia area. So like I said, kind of surprised me a little bit. But once we get into those economic fundamentals and we start looking at the key drivers in the real estate market, won me over, won all the members over in RAIN, and won over the analysts in RAIN as well. So definitely deserves to be where it is, number 9, Orillia. So for those of you that don't know too much about the area, there's a lot of Victorian kind of era charm to Orillia. So it's a really cool place, really cool city. It's a great lakefront properties, and it's actually only about 90 minutes from Toronto. So nowadays it's actually not that far of a commute to actually get into Toronto. So some of the kind of key drivers for the Orillia area are really, one of them, the big one, is that the government is actually starting to put in a lot of money into investments into Orillia, and that's actually a really good sign from an economic standpoint and from a population growth standpoint. So we're getting a lot of government investment into really high-end rec centers, libraries, education facilities. And something key to remember is where the government is putting money into these type of facilities, that's where the government is going to be wanting people to populate. They're putting the money into these rec centers, these libraries, these education facilities, things that are going to attract young families, and that's where they're trying to get the population growth to go. So again, that's a really good fundamental to watch. The other one is GDP growth. So GDP growth for the Orillia area is actually right kind of on provincial average. It's about 2.1%. So again, that's a healthy GDP growth. So those are all good things. We'll dig into the fundamentals a little bit for Orillia as well. So we'll start with employment, like we always do. So employment, the one number that sounds a little bit big off the get-go is the unemployment rate, which is 7.9%. It sounds a little high, but in actuality, it's not. It's lower than, for example, a place like Brampton, which is something that people would consider more of a major city. So 7.9% sounds a little high. It's not too bad. The median income is actually just over $71,000, so it's a pretty healthy median income for the area. Some kind of key employment drivers in that really area are actually the Ontario Provincial Police, or OPP, are a very large employer in the area. So they have their main training facility out there, and they also have their main headquarters out there as well. So they're a big employer in the Orillia area. And post-secondary education is a large employer out there as well. So there's actually Lakehead University, which just got approved for 21 new programs. That's in the Thunder Bay area. So that's going to be a huge driver of education in the area of Orillia, and also a good driver for employment as well. And you got a lot of people that are coming there for school, and the hope is, from the government's perspective, is people live there for their university time, and they get to like the community, and then they end up staying. So that's typically what happens when you have a good community and you have a lot of good places like rec centers and libraries and things like that people want to stay and people want to use. Next fundamental is population. So year over year, same as actually Grimsby and St. Catharines, same as number 10, year over year since 2011, they've actually had a steady increase in their population. It's been growing for the last few years. That's a really good sign as well. This population from a median age standpoint, again, similar to number 10, which is Grimsby and St. Catharines. It's a bit of an older median age. So the median age here in Orillia is about 47. I say older, I mean 47 is not old by any means, but not in this day and age. But from a median age perspective, 47, it means it's an older and aging population. Again, that's a good sign. It means that with the population starting to age, you're going to get a lot more younger people coming in over the next 5-10 years, young families, and they're going to actually start investing in those houses, renovating them. There's going to be a lot of change, a lot of revitalization in the next 5-10 years. So again, really good signs. Next, fundamentals into the rental market. So rental market vacancy rate is about 2.5%. So that's not a bad rate at all. I mean, it might sound high to a couple people, but it's not a bad rate at all. That's something that we can work with. The way we do our rental units, the way we help our partners and our investors and our clients do the rental units is we actually create really beautiful spaces. So you're not going to be one of those 2.5% that's sitting on the market and then doesn't have tenants, but that's the vacancy rate. So from a rental cost standpoint, one bedrooms are pretty consistent price point wise. So they're running a rate around the $830 range per month. So it's pretty consistent. The big thing that really catches my eye from an investor standpoint is that the government is really pumping money towards secondary units, secondary suites in houses. So they're actually fast tracking the permit process, and they actually have some really good incentive programs that the government's offering right now for people that are building secondary suites. So what that means is that the government really does want to densify, and because there's obviously urban sprawl has come into play a little bit in the Orillia area, so they want to densify, and the easiest way to do that is to get people to create second units in existing homes. So if you have an existing, bungalow is a great example. You have an existing bungalow, you can turn the basement into a secondary unit, and then you can rent that out, and you can turn it into a legal duplex. And the government's actually providing a really good incentive program. So reach out to me if you want more information on the programs. I can send you the links in the websites. I can help you out to take advantage of those, but they're really, really good. And from an investor standpoint, when you can leverage government subsidies or government programs, believe me, there's nothing better. Last fundamental is the real estate market. So what's actually happening with the market out there? So it really is, it's a little bit of a smaller market than a lot of people may be used to if you're used to investing in the Hamiltons or Torontos or something like that. So it is a smaller market. So it has some volatility comes into play with smaller markets, which is common in all smaller markets. But year over year, again, it's still an upward trend. So that's a good sign from a real estate market perspective. So the one number that really caught my eye when we were going through the research on this was the new development growth. So new development, so new projects breaking ground, it grew by 110% from 2016 to 2017. So that's just phenomenal growth. That's amazing growth. That's what, again, from an investor perspective, you want to see. You want to see that big developers are coming in and they're breaking ground on new soil. Same thing. So we've got the government breaking ground and spending money, and we've got developers breaking ground and spending money. There's a lot of drivers that they're trying to pull people in. They're trying to pull population growth to the area. So again, that's a really, really good sign. Also, the government is actually preparing more land to be ready for infrastructure and more development and more growth in 2018 current and 2019 next year. So again, these are all huge key drivers, key fundamentals that makes it really a really attractive place to invest right now. I can give you more information if you send me an email or reach out to us. We'll give you a bit more information about the different projects that we can help people with, and that we have different properties that are on the go out there right now in the Orillia area that you can invest in. So reach out to us. Like I said, we'll help you out with that. Lastly is the cycle. So what part of the cycle is Orillia actually in? So believe it or not, everyone knows Ontario's market's been crazy hot over the last year. It's cooled, obviously now it's starting to cool down a little bit, so people are going back and forth on where we are in the real estate cycle. When you go through the fundamentals, Orillia is actually in the recovery phase, which is surprisingly the same as Grimsby and St. Catharines. It's a recovery phase right now. So again, it's a great time to purchase. It's a great time for buy and holds. It's a great time. It's actually a really ideal time to do rent to own scenarios, and it's a great time for fix or flips. I don't think I touched on it in our last video too much. If you need more information on any of those three, you can check out our old videos or send me an email, give me a call, something like that. I can set you up and give you some more information on buy and hold, rent to own, fix and flip, explain what they are and how to do them if you need that. I'll probably do another video maybe in the coming weeks as well and explain them a bit more just to help people out, because we have had some questions explaining the details of those. And that's it for number 9, Orillia. So I hope you guys are liking the information that's coming out. I hope this is useful to anyone that's looking to invest in Ontario. Like I said, please reach out to us, DosRamos Real Estate Team, Remax Escarpment. Like our Facebook page, and now we're going to start getting into number 8 and working our way down to number 1 of the top 10 cities and towns to invest in Ontario. Thanks again for watching, and we will definitely see you guys next time.